Welcome, brothers and sisters, to Black World TV, the new black media. Well, color is the first thing black people in America become aware of. You are born into a world that has given color meaning, and color becomes the single most determining factor of your existence. A short example would be to look up the words black and white. You will see for the color white many positive attributes, while the color black, the definitions are more negative. But nonetheless, color determines where you live, how you live, and under certain circumstances, if you will live. Color determines your friends, your education, your mother's and your father's jobs, where you play, what you play, and more importantly, what you think of yourself. In and of itself, color has no meaning, but the white world has given it meaning: political, social, economic, historical, physiological, and philosophical. Once color has been given meaning, and order is thereby established. In black America, the more you look buttermilk or light skin, the prettier you're supposed to be. This is color prejudice. There are nationalist groups that won't accept light-skinned blacks. What they're doing is helping the white man because they're creating the potential for a divisive fight inside the black community. And it's totally unnecessary and damaging. The government is doing enough to try to divide and conquer the black community. We shouldn't be helping them. So, we must learn that black is not a color, but the way you think. Let me repeat that again. We must learn that black is not a color, but the way you think. Education in America has to be viewed as propaganda machinery. All educational systems are propaganda machines, but for black people, the American educational system is a propaganda machine that we don't need. It propagandizes against us. It makes us hate ourselves. But this is the kind of education we were subjected to. Education ain't just what comes out of the books, it's also everything that goes on in the school. And if you leave school hating yourself, then it doesn't matter how much you know. White nationalism has been instilled into us whether we know it or not. We have been told that George Washington should be our hero. George Washington is no hero to blacks. If the white man was to package horse shit, put a name on it, and advertise it on TV, barbecued horse shit, Negroes, or my term that I like to use, Negro peons, would go buy it because the white man said it was good. Remember Popeyes chicken? How black folks got in fist fights, even shootouts, wrecking their cars and property behind a chicken sandwich that white people told them to rush out and buy. Never mind what could be fed into those chickens that will determine your future creations, your kids. But that's another story. So, just because the white man would tell you that this barbecued horseshit tastes good, you Negro peons will go out and buy it. But that's the way it's going to be as long as white people have the power. Anything you don't control can be used as a weapon against you. And as long as black people are unable to control, well, Willie Mays will never be the greatest baseball player who ever lived. It will always be Babe Ruth. Black people have to understand that everything in this country is political. Let me repeat that again. Black people have to understand that everything in this country is political. We must move from black awareness to revolutionary motion. To be black is necessary, but not sufficient. Every Negro is a potential traitor, and every black man is only a potential revolutionary, with emphasis on potential. To be black is not to be revolutionary. It becomes ego gratifying just to be black. The real test now is preparation for and initiation of struggle. We must begin to relate to the politics of revolution. Chairman Mao says, quote, "Politics is war without bloodshed, and war is an extension of politics," unquote. Every action that we are involved in is political, whether it is religious, artistic, cultural, athletic, governmental, educational, economic, or personal. There is no separation between church and state, art and politics, or politics and individual beliefs. Everything is inherently political. The only division occurs around the question of whose political interests one will serve. And you know, we all see this playing out in social media, that everything is inherently political, even though they try to tell you or spoon feed you another narrative. But I digress. Individuals can no longer be immune to public political criticism because they're black and proud. There must be revolutionary political criticism of counter-revolutionary positions and acts. Some individuals who gain popularity in black America are later used as tools by white America. Wonder where Stacey Dash is these days. And other coons like her. But in most cases, white political interest comes as a result of the existing popularity of the black individuals. Understand, popularity does not reflect correctness. Blackness alone is not revolutionary. In other words, when white structures and institutions are threatened, whites protect their economic and political interests and maintain control by using members of the oppressed people as their spokesman. That's right, they use people that look just like you and I, black people. They also set up puppet governments headed by individuals with white interests in mind. Well, we all remember what they did to our hero Patrice Lumumba, and they set up puppet governments headed by individuals with white interests in mind. They've always done that. But these people oppress their own kind for their personal gain. These puppet leaders are as dangerous as those whom they represent. Remember, it was Jews who began to remove other Jews for Hitler. At this stage of struggle, the greatest danger comes from within. It has become profitable, fashionable, and even necessary to be black. In that order, militancy is second to blackness. However, to be militant is not to be revolutionary. Negroes running around, or peons rather, running around with naturals on their heads and nothing on their minds. Let me say that again. Negro peons running around with naturals on their heads and nothing on their minds. It ain't the dude with the natural. I'd rather see a cat with a processed or, straightened head and a natural mind than a natural head and a processed mind. You get the meaning, you get the picture. It ain't what's on your head, it's what's in it. You see Negroes with naturals on their heads and nothing on their minds. Revolutionaries are not determined by physical characteristics. So if you must pledge to be a revolutionary, you are involved in the struggle, whether you want to be or not. Your badge of involvement is your skin color. Revolution is indeed inevitable, and as the cycle of change closes around America's racist environment, the issue of color becomes more pertinent. The convention is a classic example of the lack of vehicle for the redress of grievances for black people. We don't have any machinery to talk about the denial of justice. Who do we go to that's higher than this system we live under? But God. And we can't even seem to get an agreement on that. For even that, for our God, we can't even get an agreement in that. And it should be clear to all by now that there is no difference between the Democratic and Republican parties. There's only one party in America, and that's the party of white nationalism. When people cannot find a redress of their grievances within a system, they have no choice but to destroy the system which is responsible in the first place for their grievances. The government is the lawbreaker. The people must become the law enforcer. We cannot allow the government to be an outlaw, particularly when the crime is against humanity, the people. I hate the practice of race discrimination, and in my hatred, I am supported by the fact that the overwhelming majority of mankind hates it equally. There is nothing any court can do to me that will change that hatred in me. It can only be changed by the removal of the racism and inhumanity which exists in this country. In this country, authority is a cover for wrong. I don't respect wrong, and I don't respect authority that represents wrong. The whole concept of authority has to be redefined. People have to understand that individuals, not positions, merit respect. Black America and white America assume that positions mandate respect. This is why Black world has rejected both Negro America and white America and their ideas of authority. Black people across this country have known that the real conspiracy in this country is to run us out, keep us down, or kill us if we can't act like the white man wants us to act. So, we're fighting for our survival, and for this, we're called criminals, outlaws, and murderers. Yet, who are the real criminals? Who stole us from Africa? Who has been stealing our labor these past 400 years to build this country? Who are the real murderers? Why don't they call the police who gun us down in the streets every day, all year round? Why don't they call them murderers? When America fights a nonviolent war, I'll become nonviolent. But I ain't gonna hold my breath waiting for that day to come around. People want to say that I preach violence. I preach a response to violence. Meet violence with violence. You remember the old scriptures, an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth? If you're minding your business and someone starts messing with you, he starts effing with you, he's being violent because he's infringing on your human rights. It's your responsibility to jump back at the mofo and make him back down or fight. If you don't, he knows that you're scared and that he can control you, and that's your behind. So brothers and sisters, I hope you've received a message out of this and can apply it to your life. We need each other more than ever. Excuse me. Happy Black History Month. This message is in honor and gratitude to H. Rap Brown and his undying love and respect for black people. You can do your part by liking, sharing, and subscribing to my channel. Thank you for all of those who hung in there still to this day, even though I've been away for over a month and a half or so. Maybe that'll be another video, but I leave you off with this. Shalom. Thank you for your time. That's Black World TV.